Welcome to the Unleashed podcast, where we believe that life is better when it is lived on purpose. My name is Molly Brunk, and I'm joined with lead pastor of Be Hope Church, Brad Thompson. And we're back. I'm back, actually.
We are so glad you're back.
You were here last time.
I was here by myself.
Were you lonely by yourself?
I was somewhat depressed.
But we're starting a new series today called Unstuck Yourself, or if you're Brad,
Unstuck Yourself.
Yourself.
I like that.
Yeah.
It has more authority when you say it that way. Unstuck Yourself.
Yeah, I like it. You have some command in your voice.
It's demanding or demeaning. I don't know which.
But essentially, over these next 3 podcasts, we're going to talk about 3 questions to help get yourself back on track, right?
3 questions to help yourself get back on track. I know we're in the new year.
And
But apparently, what was it? Quitting day was January. What day was that?
I don't know.
The 21st?
I've never heard of that.
What's the official quitting day, Matt Scruggs?
Is it 21st?
January 21st? Seems like 3 weeks in.
We'll find out. We'll let you know.
Anyway, I want to help you get back on track if you've already quit your New Year's resolution. So there are 3 questions that I want to wrestle with over the next 3 podcasts. And I'm just going to make it pretty simple. Just remember this. Where, how, and who. Those 3 things. Where, how, and who. That's what we're going to discuss. And so today I want to talk about the big question, and I think it's the starting point for getting back on track wherever you are. And this is the question I want to propose today. And the title of this podcast is, where are you? Where are you? And I don't think it's any secret. I know I get dinged on this all the time. And I just don't really care because I listen to other pastors who do the same thing. But I always get made fun of because I always talk about weight and food and health. And I'm just gonna be honest, like, it matters to me. It may not matter to you. It matters to me. And I'm talking.
What?
I'm talking about me.
Oh,
we got to clarify that.
Right before I started this, I said, Matt, do I look fat or pregnant? And I was like, there is a correct answer. So that's
You're talking about a tough question, but an easy answer.
The correct answer is pregnant. Okay.
Yes, pregnant. And here's the reality. Like, it is really hard to admit. Like, over the last 2.5 years, being at Be Hope, almost 3 years now, I have slowly, and I don't know how this has happened, slowly have grown to a weight that has been the most I've ever been in my life.
We ruined you somehow. I don't know how.
Like, y'all want to go out to eat all the time, and I don't know what it is. But
the pace is a lot.
But I have to admit, like, and it's been really hard. When I look back over this 3 years, it's like I wouldn't say I've let myself go because I still work out. I still eat healthy, but some of my habits have changed that have led me to where I am now. And those are the unhealthy pieces that I'm like, this isn't good. This isn't good. And I think really, I had a good friend say it this way. He said, like, the drift is real. Like, that was a great way to describe what has happened. It didn't just happen overnight.
Yeah.
Like, the drift is real. Like, it just kind of happened over time. I had another friend who said, anything left alone never changes. And it's just true. You just kind of let things go. And next thing you know, you're like, wow, I'm a mess in 43.
But it's a new year. Aren't you on
I'm 43,
new
man.
fitness journey now?
Apparently, 44 and there was another age in the 50s are the 2 years that you age significantly.
Oh, really?
I'm 1 year from...
I feel like you got to stop reading those articles.
Being old. Oh, I know. Somebody told me.
Okay.
Somebody on our staff. So here we are. But I need you to see, the question that I'm wrestling with is, where are you? Nobody wants to answer that question. And I think one of the goals we've tried to do, at least in this podcast, is I want to bring more scripture into this. And in the life of David, I find it fascinating that when Samuel goes to find the king, he shows up, right? And he's like, are these all your sons? And David's father's like, no, not really. Yeah, I kind of lied to you. Like, not really. And he's like, where's the other son? He's like, oh, he's out in the field. He's out in the field. And when I look at David's life, like, I don't know what happened that led him there, but I kind of wonder if his dad made decisions for him. And here he is in a field, tending sheep, when he was meant to be doing something else.
Mm.
And I think that's really the question that we struggle with. And I think the struggle for most of us is we don't even know where we are.
Yeah.
Like, it is so hard for us to figure out, what am I struggling with? Maybe it's not. I don't know. Do you find it? Do you find it hard to get your bearings?
I think sometimes. I think we also don't like to always like sit in how we're feeling or acknowledge where we're at. And so it's just easier to stay busy and stay distracted. And so I think it takes a moment to be still or to slow down to kind of wrap your head around where you're at. And I don't think that we are naturally, like, I don't think we have those rhythms in our lives to do that. But I also think too, like, it requires a lot of self-awareness, and sometimes you don't have that skill. I don't know. Not you personally, but just
I'm glad you're not.
yeah. Yeah, but I think being self-aware is hard.
Yeah, and I think that's the key, right? Self-awareness. Like, I think many of us, we just drift in life because we're not self-aware of what's actually taking place in our lives. And you know, I really like, part of admitting where you are is just acknowledging that where you are, there you are. Like, that's really the main idea for today, is where you are, that's exactly where you are.
Yeah.
And I remember I had a pastor who said that all the time: where you are, there you are. And I'm like, that is the dumbest phrase I've ever heard. And I never understood what he meant by it until you have these moments where you're like, yeah, this isn't going well. Or that's not what I expected my life to look like. Or I can't believe I'm at this point, 43.
How much do you weigh? Just kidding.
Oh, I have no shame. 208 pounds to be exact.
I don't know if that's good or bad. So.
It's not great for me.
Okay.
So
I'm sorry.
Yeah, 208 pounds. Now everybody knows.
Brad just starts weeping. He's like, it's fine.
It was even worse at Christmas. So here we are. It's good news.
There you are.
But I do want to acknowledge in this moment that you are where you are because of different reasons. There are different factors. So I don't want to just say like you are where you are because it's your fault, right? To some degree, yes, you are where you are because of choices you've made. I think sometimes we are where we are because of habits and disciplines that we have in our life. I think we are where we are at times because of unfortunate circumstances.
Yeah.
Like, I know people would disagree with me. I don't, from experiences that I've had, not everybody is dealt the same hand. It's just the truth.
It is, yeah.
Like, I've been around inner city. I've been around poverty. I've been around it long enough to know not everybody has the same cards.
Yeah.
And I'll move on from that. But I think in many ways too, you are where you are. I think this is important because of your mindset and your belief. You ever met those people who are just like, I'm tired. And I'm like, how many hours of sleep did you get last night? 10. And I'm like,
yeah.
Are you tired because you're tired, or are you tired because you keep thinking that you're tired?
Yeah.
And I think sometimes we are because of what we believe or what we think about ourselves. And then I think some other factors that lead to where we are our friendships and our relationships. Like, you've heard it said, you are the average of the 5 people that you surround your life with. So if you're making really bad decisions, you probably have friends who are making really bad decisions.
Yeah.
Not you.
Not me.
You have the best friends ever.
I do have great friends.
You really do.
But
that's why you're so amazing.
But you're like, I'm 28. Like, it's like, takes a long time to get there. Like, sometimes you don't always, I think navigating school and college and all of that, like, you have to be picky with who you spend your time with, because they do have such a great influence on your life.
They do.
And stuff. And so I'm privileged because I get to be a part of a church community. And so it's like, oh, my option, like, it's like, oh, I have these great options because we have these same core values in our lives where I don't have to explain myself to them. I don't have to explain my motives to them. Like, they get that part of me. And so, but you're not always in environments like that. And so, yeah.
And now you're successful.
Hopefully. We'll see.
I think one other thing too, and this is just my opinion, but like when we talk about you are where you are, I think sometimes too, I think we get where we are at times because of risks that we've taken and that God's favor is upon our lives. Now, that's not to say that when God's favor is upon your life that you don't have hard circumstances. But I do think when you look throughout the course of Scripture, like God rewards and honors people who make great risks, who make great sacrifices. It's the parable of the talents. Like one guy buries it and one guy invests it. And I think God's favor is upon people's lives who are willing to take those risks. And I think some people are where they are because of that. And I think that's a whole nother subject. Theologically, I don't want to say who does and doesn't have God's favor on their life. That's not for me to decide.
Yeah.
But I do think some people are where they are because God is fully invested in the work.
Yeah.
That not only has He called them to do, but they have continued to move forward in powerful ways.
Yeah. And I think you see favor and obedience also tied together. I think of my dad who worked at a car lot for years, making a ton of money, then getting a call into ministry. And he was obedient to that. And now he's served for over 20 years and
25 years.
25 years. And you've seen just God just working in his life and our family's life because of the decision that he made to be obedient, and people would label that as a risk. And so, yeah, not to keep
huge
going
risk
into God's favor in our lives.
But lots of fruit.
Yeah.
There's so much good fruit that's come from it.
Yeah.
So, and I think what I want, with this whole podcast, we talk about living on purpose. One of the greatest ways that you live on purpose is just by admitting where you are.
Yeah.
I think that is the key to knowing where you are, is just being willing to admit where you are. One of the key phrases I wrote down today is admitting where will help you get there. Admitting where will help you get there. It's kind of like, I go back to the GPS thing, like getting directions. Like if I'm going from Ohio to Virginia, I have to know where I'm starting, right? But to get to Virginia, I also I want to know if there's tolls, which there are, by the way, lots of them. I want to know if there's traffic. I want to know, we want to know all the things that are ahead, but we have to know where we are before we ever experience the things that are ahead. And so knowing the starting point for your life is really important. And I think it's hard to admit it. It's hard, I'll just be honest, hard to get on the scale after Christmas and look at it. I think in terms of Celebrate Recovery at Be Hope Church, I think it's hard to admit at times when we're codependent or we've got an addiction that needs help or we need some work in our lives.
But I think a lot of people wrestle with this when you have goals and ideas and aspirations for where you want your life to be. You have to reconcile where you're at. You have to acknowledge where you're at. If you're someone who's in your 20s and you're single, but you're oh, I want a family. I want to be a spouse. I want to have this sort of life. But here I am. What do you do in the midst of that? But until you acknowledge that, then you're just going to be upset about your, I don't know, or you're just going to keep filling your life with things that don't help you accomplish that. I don't really know what would help you accomplish that when it comes to marriage. But.
Well, I think it goes back to what my friend said, the drift is real. I think when it comes to a relationship, I think sometimes relationships end and we're just yeah, whatever, that was that. But there was no reflection to say, yeah, I contributed to this. Yep. This is why it was a mess.
Yep.
Yeah, maybe they had something to do with it, but admitting in that moment,
yeah,
oh, I could have communicated better. I could have been more present at the time.
Yeah.
Admitting those things is really the starting point for better relationships in the future.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. But I think with everything, you have this idea of where your life is going to be. You have this idea of this hope of who you are going to become. And often you live in that idea without acknowledging where you're at.
Yes.
And then you don't have any way forward.
Yes.
Because you don't know where you're at. So I think that's really helpful.
So I think the big question that we have to ask is, one, where am I? But I think to help us wrestle with that question as well, and this is really a big one, is, am I where I want to be? Is my life where I expected it to be? Are my relationships as healthy as I thought they would be? In terms of my education or my job, am I as productive or as successful as I want it to be? Am I where I want it to be?
Yeah.
And I think comparing where am I and where do I want to be gives you a perfect picture for, is this going well?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like, is life going the way I want it?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's helpful.
Yeah.
I think that's helpful. So,
yeah.
Here's just 3 questions that I think are helpful. Here's some things that I do to help me assess where am I. And these are just 3 questions. So first one is what's life-giving? Like in this season right now, what am I excited about?
Yeah.
Give your time to that. What's life-giving?
Mm-hmm.
My kids are life-giving.
Yeah.
I give a lot of time to them. I also spend a lot of time away from them.
Balance.
But like right now, my oldest son has soccer games at 9:30 at night in Cincinnati on Friday. Like, and then I have to get up early the next day for services. Like, but I love it. It's life-giving.
Yeah.
Second question is what should be celebrated? I don't think we credit ourselves enough for the things that we have done well.
Mm.
I think it's to the other point. I think we can always point out what's wrong, what's messed up, what you've screwed up. And I think we never give ourselves enough credit to celebrate. Hey, like, this job's going well, or this relationship's going well, or this, I don't know what it is. Whatever it is, celebrate it.
Yeah.
So what's life-giving? What should be celebrated? And then the last one is, hey, what's frustrating? What's frustrating? What's heavy? What's not clear? What's not working? Like, it's always when it's not working. Those are the 3 questions.
That's good. I like it. You got to know where you are to know where you want to go.
Yes.
Yes.
Admit where so you can get there.
I like it. I feel like you're on a Dr. Seuss kick right now. Yeah, all the like rhyming sentences.
Oh.
I like it though. It's good.
It's just contrast is really what I'm shooting for.
So sad. You're like, oh, that's fair.
I hated those books growing up.
Well, do you have any final thoughts before we wrap up?
No. Pretty simple question. Where am I?
Yeah.
And you have to admit where so you can get there.
Yep. Well, every episode we end with hope or nopes, which is just where we get to ask Brad if
Dr.
he
Seuss.
has hope or nope for the situation. Dr. Seuss, is there hope or nope for that situation?
Oh, there's always hope for Dr. Seuss.
Okay, your wife is a early childhood education teacher, so you better say hope. Okay, the next one is, who do you think is going to win the Super Bowl? We got Eagles and Chiefs.
I don't like either of them.
Fair enough.
I think the Chiefs are going to win.
You think so?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know really anything about sports, but I do believe that if the Eagles and Bills would have been competing against each other, there would have been lots of street fights. Like, they have both the craziest fan bases. I'm like, that would have been actually insane. I would have been so scared for all of the people in
Pretty much the Northeast would be on fire.
I would be so scared for them. So that probably was good. That did not
were
happen.
you rooting for a team?
No, not really. I know everyone just loves to hate on the Chiefs right now, but I'm pretty indifferent about any of them. So,
I was
were
rooting
you?
For Detroit.
Oh, the underdogs.
Yeah.
Well, what about then the Commanders?
Undercats, really, but
that's so stupid. What about the Commanders? Were you rooting for them after they?
As a kid, I rooted. They were the Washington Redskins then, and your dad asked me this why. The hometown that I grew up in, their mascot was.
The Redskins?
No, it was a Shawnee Indian.
Oh, yeah.
And so I just wanted anything that had that sort of mascot, and so I love the Redskins.
Got it. Well, now they're the Commanders.
Now they're the Commanders.
There's that. I was going to ask you a whole bunch of pregnancy related questions.
Do it. Let's go. Quick
for
fire.
Hope or Nope. I'll do it for the next episode.
Oh, darn.
And stuff, but I'll save it and stuff.
Wait, are these trick questions?
We'll see.
All right,
we'll see if they are or not. But we're so grateful that you took time out of your day to listen to this podcast. Make sure that you subscribe so that you are notified every time that there's a new episode. And make sure that you also share it with everyone in your sphere of influence. And we'll see you back here on the next episode.